think about our own situation, try and get a greater perspective. And I really believe that life moves in cycles. I don't believe there are, really any magical cures. There may be temporary band-aids that seem like a cure. But I think until we really move through the inner issues, the outer just sort of keeps projecting the same old rerun. And with life moving in cycles, I want us to remember we can create what the author of our book, Tommy Newberry, calls a virtuous cycle. And I want to talk about that as we're talking about emotions, we're talking about the 4-8 principle, and I want to talk about some ways to create that virtuous cycle and not the other cycle, which is commonly, I guess, would be called a vicious cycle. And so what he says is we create a virtuous cycle by getting, 1, clear on our vision, and then 2, aligning our behaviors with that clear vision. And I think all of us do have a clear vision, a vision that understands good thoughts, good attitudes, good belief, create a good life. And I think somewhere, inside of us, we get sidetracked, and we don't intend it, and we don't consciously choose it. We catch ourselves. And if catching ourselves is a way to recognize the power of God, then we should bless those moments we catch ourselves because we turn the cycle around. If we don't really create a clear vision, and then day by day, moment by moment, express behaviors that are aligned with that vision, what we're doing is surrendering our life's events. We're just surrendering our life's events. And what happens is the author of the book says, we live in constant, unknowing, or what's going to happen next, or what can happen next. And so this morning, I think we have to come to terms, or come to grips, with a fundamental question. This question applies to every area of our life. It applies to our relationships. It applies to our health. It applies to what we're going to do this afternoon and what we're going to be doing at the end of the year and where we'll be 7 years from now. And this question comes down to, do we believe we can reach our full potential, or do we want to continue allowing negative thoughts to have power over us? Okay. We really do. It's a choice between reaching the full potential or holding up a white flag and surrendering to negative thinking. It really is. We're not surrendering to any person, place, or thing outside of ourselves because they have no power. They have nobody can go, they can, steal my car if they want, but really the power comes from me giving the keys away. Okay? Leaving it unlocked. Okay? And so, and if they want the car bad enough, I can lock it, I can alarm it, I can, leave dogs in it, they will get it. All right? And so it really comes down to those moment by moment, what seem to be insignificant choices. And today I'm telling you, those little moment by moment decisions to look up make all the difference in the world when we want to create that virtuous cycle. The book, he writes, we have all been in situations where we have almost enjoyed wallowing in our negative emotions. I remember a long time ago, it was like Thanksgiving, a long time ago, I was in my 20s, And it was one of those, soap opera Thanksgivings in the house. Like, really. I mean, it was just like, and the details don't matter. But I remember what I did. If you've ever seen me, I was always like with cameras and stuff. Is after I left I checked out of the drama and went to my friend's house. And I'm like, take my picture. And I put this really mad look on my face. I said, I want to remember this day the rest of my life. And it's like, I wanted to wallow. And so he says, but we carry on angrily about this or that. Even after this or that or him or her has long disappeared from our view, we're still carrying anger about it. We nurse a grudge to get every last drop of misery out of it sometimes. Just go back and read about the man who was lying at the pool of Bethesda for 38 years. And Jesus, the healer, the presence of God, walks up on him. You want to be well? And he's like, oh, let me tell you, every time I get up, they all push me out of the way. And then every time, they beat me to the healing. We all do this sometimes. We sulk in response to being disappointed. And the question I have is, what is the end result? Where has the anger and the hurt and the sulking and the whining and the wallowing, where has it truly gotten us? If somebody has been unemployed and walked in and whined and sulked in the interview and got the job, can you please stand up? Now, let's see. Maybe I'm off base. Maybe if you really walked in like the man, I've been unemployed for 38 weeks, and I just need you to hire me. I promise I'll be good. Every time I go for the job, someone pushes me out of the elevator. And by the time I get there, they've already given away the job. Please. Does that work for anybody? How about relationships? May I, Cindy? Come on. May I? No, you have no idea what I'm going to do. Let's just see how this works. Cindy, nobody wants to ever go out with me, not even for a cup of coffee. And every time I get a date, by the end of the meal, we don't even make it sometimes through the appetizer. Why do they get a beep, or they get a cell phone call, or their mother is rushed to the hospital? I had the same person have 4 grandmothers die. Would you go out with me?
No.
And so what I'm inviting you to do is not deny the emotion. Not deny it, to actually just feel it. But then recognize this negative thought has served its purpose. It showed me I need to look up, stand up, march forward, fake it till I make it, show up for a prayer circle, take 4 tea, write some affirmations, write another letter to God, write another prayer request, show up for another class. It's served its purpose. And so what is the goal? What is the goal? If I was going to ask you, if I lined up everyone here today and said, what is your goal for the week, the month, or the year? Would you answer, Rev, it's joy, it's peace, it's security. If the goal is getting a job, and what is the the decision behind the goal. You know, goals act as filters. The air conditioner has filters, right? Water, we have water filters in our, to keep the impurities out. The air conditioner has filters, so all that dust doesn't build up in the condenser. And you've seen, if you haven't, you can look at it online, what happens to a condenser when the filter isn't changed. The air can't flow through. What if that condenser was our consciousness? And God was the air trying to force its way through the healing, the job, the prosperity, the relationship. And we have all this anger and all this hate and all this misery just saved up. Well, change the filter. Let some God in our life. And see, spiritually, the goals act as filters. And here's what our filters are. We eliminate negative words. Sometimes even I'll say them and I'll have to be like, no, I take that back. And I've been with people that have said something negative, and I'll be like, oh, let's join hands and pray on that. And they'll pull their hands away. They think I'm going to pray. Or one of the ministers that I used to, sit under used to say, let me write that down and have you sign it. Oh, I'm just no good. I'm not going to get that job today. Well, let me write that down and have you sign it, okay? It's like, are we going to, certainly we will have less than holy, less than God, negative triggers in our life come from time to time. Certainly. We are not living in an illusion here. I had an emotional trigger in my life, just call my cell phone Friday night. And it was interesting because first there were text messages, and just from the energy of the text, I said, I think I'm going to silence my phone for the rest of the night. Just from the text message. Someone I hadn't seen for a very long time, who was a very good friend of mine, who I believed was a very good friend of mine, just started, I don't know. And I just said, fortunately, I'm reading the 4 Principle. I'm taking 4T 3 times a week. Or, fortunately, but God. Fortunately, anything anybody threw at me this week had to be filtered through the perspective of Whitney Houston. Fortunately, I had to, look at, is this a big thing or is this a small thing? And just so you know, I'm not ignoring Whitney. I'm not ready to go there. We'll probably get there next week, all right? I just want you to know, if you've seen my Facebook page, I'm not ready. And I'm just honoring that. And so this emotional trigger, we don't look for them. Believe me. It was a peaceful week. It was a prayerful week. It was Friday night. I was sitting down to do my online posts for my biblical ethics class. I had all the reading done, and I was excited that I was going to get these online posts, and they still haven't been posted because, the little, I guess you'd call it just a spiritual Scud missile. Because that's what happens, it's like, I'm not out there looking for it. I'm not like, here, misery drama, come on to me, I'm not out there with a big net trying to no, I was in my home, relaxing. And so fortunately, what I'm here to tell you is there's this small space, and it's ever so tiny. And this space exists between what happens inside and what happens outside. And it is a millisecond, all right? It is this God, breath, or not, where it gives us a chance. Do we react or do we respond? And I spoke about that in the past few weeks. They're all on YouTube. And this little sliver of time determines not only our potential for joy in that specific situation, but it really becomes our destiny for all of our human interrelationships, because we build up habits. And so Newberry points out, the author of the book, which I'm teaching, all of this is in the book, The 4-8 Principle. He says we do all sorts of things that fuel our negative emotions. And as a result, we keep not getting what we want, and then we keep adding more fuel because we didn't get what we want. And so that's that cycle going in the wrong direction. But there is a cycle that just moves us closer and closer to our dreams, closer and closer to peace, closer and closer to God, however you understand God. And we've been discussing it. If I could give you a prescription right now, I'd be like, dwell on things that are uplifting, dwell on things that are working, dwell on things that are worthy of praise, and come back in 7 days. That's my prescription for you. And that wasn't original. Paul thought of it 2,000 years ago. And so we do find ourselves emotionally low. I want you to know that. And when we do, if it continues, it says joy in the night, but, it says suffering shall endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. If we wake up in the morning and we're still here, feeling something from the night before, then we've been dwelling on those negative feelings. And in this low state, our mind plays tricks on us. Our mind plays tricks on us to keep us down. The title of chapter 6 of our book study is called Head Games. And it's important to start noticing when we're playing head games with ourselves and say, get thee behind me, this is not God. I'm going to change the questions that I'm asking. I'm not going to ask all of these accusatory who, what, when, why, and where did this happen to me, and woe is me question. I'm going to start asking, what is my goal here? Where is God here? What is the outcome that I want to create? And then I'm going to hold that picture in my mind. See, we could ask ourselves a few more questions. We see a situation. Where is this situation headed? And is this okay? If you're headed toward Miami after church today, and you get on I-95 North, I have some news. Okay? It's a long way to Miami around the entire circumference of the planet. And so if you realize, wow, I want to go to Miami, but I'm on I-95 North, what do you need to do? Any ideas? Get off I-95 and turn around. Well, I want to tell you that works with God too. That works with our dreams and our visions. That works with our mind when we catch ourselves going in the wrong direction. Get off and turn around. And then, the answers that come are in response to enlightened questions. You see, feelings are important, and they are important, but they are no substitute for the truth. They're no substitute for the truth. We know that God is truth. We know that healing is truth. We know that love is truth. We know that the presence is truth. So when we face negative emotions, we have a couple of basic choices. And whether we unconsciously choose not to choose, or we do what I did, which was Saturday morning, I called, Reverend Tim, and I made a specific, request. I need to be alone with you for 15 minutes. And I vented what I had to vent, and we prayed, and the rest of my weekend has been fine. Because the only thing on my mind since that next morning is nothing can separate me from the love of God. Nothing. Nobody, no voicemail, no text, no email, no Facebook post, no gangs, no anybody can separate me from the love that is God, because the love that is God I carry within me, because I know I have a choice. I can suppress my feelings by keep burying them. I can suppress my feelings by turning them off with alcohol or drugs or any other long list of unhealthy addictions that keep people from feeling their true feelings. Or I can express this negativity to everyone around me and have them just keep co-signing how miserable it is. And I could pull out scrolls, and I could show pictures, and I could post on Facebook, and I could, announce to the whole world. And just keep it repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. I can do that, and then anybody who comes near me, I can be like, sign my misery. Will you vote for my misery, please? Will you vote for my misery, please? I can do it over and over and over. So we have two choices. We can suppress, or we can get co-signers. But there is a third choice. We can make the decision to live in God with joy. We can make that decision in spite of anything and everybody. We can make a decision to say whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. If it's anything that is excellent or praiseworthy, I will think on this thing. Anything that is excellent or praiseworthy. Dr. Katie, in her book, Lessons in Truth, says everyone must come to a time where they no longer seek external help, where they know that the inner revelation can come through an indwelling power that has been there all the time. Okay? God is about recognizing God. Okay? There's not like a Holy Spirit that swoops down, and enters us. It's God is God, and God has been there all the time when we recognize. And God is really that intelligence that's within us. God is the wisdom that's within us. God is the peace that's within us. God is the comfort, the healing, the faith, the strength, the power, the will, the understanding, the imagination, the enthusiasm, the release, any quality of God. And most importantly, God is the life in us. And we're, it's inside of us. God is not out there somewhere. God is within us. And so when we have those moments, they are catalyst moments for us to simply say, nothing can separate me from the love of God. And so this week, more of God in our consciousness will bring more joy. Don't look for signs or wonders outside of yourself. Don't look for the miracle of finding the relationship, of getting the job, of being physically healed. Be the miracle in consciousness. Just be still and know God. See what happens. Just be still every moment and invite the Spirit of God, which is that breath, to create a new idea in you. To create a new dream in you. I close with a poem. The poem is called A Dream, I Dream a World by Langston Hughes. I dream a world where man, no other man will scorn, where love will bless the earth and peace its paths adorn. I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way, where greed no longer saps the soul, nor avarice blights our day. A world I dream where black or white, whatever race you be, will share the bounties of the earth and every man is free. Where wretchedness will hang its head and joy like a pearl attends the needs of all mankind. Of such I dream my world. Dream your world this week. God will take care of everything else. And so it is, and it shall be. Amen.